tell how me and Iman Arnaz met. On October 26th, 2025 is when she officially started talking to me.
That hasn't happened yet.
I asked her to marry me on social media on Twitter, and she DMs me on her Pokimane on her alt account, and she starts talking to me. I can't believe it. After all these months, after all these years that I've been talking to her, DMing her, nothing. And finally, she responds to me. Now, here's the funny part about it.
Dude, begging a random internet celebrity that you don't know to marry you is definitely how you get her, especially if you combine it with flying out to her city and going homeless to meet her. Like, holy shit. This story is just so bizarre. Also, while researching this story, I found out that Pokimane claims that she spends 5 figures every single month just to prevent people from doxing her and posting deep fakes. And now I see why. Because you don't want people like this obsessively trying to find out where they live and show up to her house. That's horrifying. But why would Pokimane allegedly respond to this guy?
Now, here's the funny part about it. She asked me for $70.
Right. Come on, dude. How do we fall for this? This is like the lowest tier scam as well. Dude is literally getting scammed by a level 1 crook.
I'm thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute. If this is Pokimane, why is she asking me for $70? I block her. And I thought about it. I said, okay, wait a minute. Maybe this is her, so let me unblock her. She asked me for $70. I gave it to her. I've been giving her money ever since. And you might be wondering, wait a minute, why are you giving her money? Well, here's the reason. I love her, and I don't care if she has money or not. I would treat her like a natural woman. Respect her and treat her with love and dignity, no matter what she has, no matter what she does. I love her so much. And in fact, that's why we're getting married. I gave her $1,500.
Dude, should have listened to the original instinct here. I blocked her because why would Pokimane need that money? Good point. Then I unblocked her and sent her thousands because I love her. Hello? Come on. You were almost there. But Shelbo, he went on to talk about how he received a secret link from a Pokimane account. And of course, he clicked on that link and went to it because he loves her, and then proceeded to send this account another $4,000. Then obviously, he's not rich. If he's in transitional housing, he apparently uses what he has to make do. And he said he's currently not working. He's also on Social Security, and he has food stamps, and obviously now homeless. Why is he sending money to Pokimane? Or he thinks he's sending money to Pokimane, but it's an AI fake Pokimane, which is why the story is basically as bad as the fake AI Brad Pitt lady. But with that story, this woman divorced her husband and used the over $800,000 settlement to send a fake AI Brad Pitt money. This guy, he got tricked out of a house and home, literally. Completely different dollar amounts. Both should have never happened. But Shelbo claims that he talked to Pokimane on the phone at some point, so I wouldn't be surprised if the scammers used AI for that. The social media page they originally DM'd him apparently looked similar to Pokimane's, but this wouldn't be the first time that a fake social media account added numbers to make the page look original. Because I mean, especially if this happened on Twitter, all they had to do was buy a verification badge and bought like 20-30,000 followers and say it's an alt account, and then suddenly it looks somewhat believable for someone who has no idea what they're doing. So in this guy's defense, being catfished is sadly common, but come on, at least use the airplane mask rule. Supply yourself with oxygen first, so you can then help others. If you're going to send a streamer money, make sure you at least don't go homeless doing so. And in this case, he didn't even send a streamer money. That probably went straight to some Indian call center.
And in return, I was able to speak with her and talk with her. That's not the reason she did it though, but I wanted to give her $1,500. I later on gave her $4,000 just cause. You might say, are you rich or something? Absolutely not. But I used what I had. But I'm gonna tell you something now, guys. I'm currently not working right now. I'm just working off of Social Security right now, which is understandable. I'm getting food stamps. And again, you might be wondering, okay, why aren't you relying on her to help you out? I don't want to do that. That's just how I am.
Buddy, you couldn't if you wanted to. Bro's literally giving a scammer more money than he keeps for himself. This is just painful at this point.
I don't want to rely on her to do anything. In fact, I want to pay for her. But you know what? I don't mind her helping me every now and then. She is a beautiful, beautiful woman that I love very much. And the fact that people are calling me crazy to say that I'm dating her, I don't blame them for saying it. Look, I know this is Pokemon we're talking about. And look, me, yeah, we're dating. You guys gonna have to accept that.
Please say this is an elaborate troll.
She wanted to come to my birthday party. This girl asked me to buy her a $900 plane ticket. And here's the thing, it's not that I couldn't do it. I could do it. Well, I don't have to worry about that anymore since I'm in California now. We're kind of sort of close to each other now. Moving forward, we love each other very much. We tell each other that all the time. Like I said, today is our 4-month anniversary.
So he's given her like $4,000 in 4 months when clearly some of that capital should have been deployed on some nail clippers.
But I did want to decide to stream today just a little bit, just to tell you guys about this. And thank you guys for listening to me. You know, it gave me a chance to tell you guys my story a bit. And basically, me and Amon are getting married.
Bless his heart. I feel bad for everyone who has to deal with harassment like this, because this is harassment. Even though he's a moron, this is still harassment. Because I can only imagine how many types of people like this that these streamers have to deal with that aren't exposing themselves online like this dude. But Shelbo, apparently he's still in California, apparently getting married to AI Pokimane, and I guess he's just gonna continue living a real life version of the movie Her. Okay, wait, hold up. Hold up. Okay, I was gonna end the video here until I found his YouTube channel and his website and his blog. And it's safe to say the rabbit hole continues quite a bit.
Ever since I moved out here to California, I've been homeless myself. And you know what? I guess I said, you know what? I want to experience it. How is it to be homeless? And you know what, guys? It's not good at all.
Who could have seen that one coming? So then he also posted this video titled, "What's it like dating Pokimane?"
We're gonna move a bit forward to when we started dating, officially started dating. Now, we've been talking on Twitter. You guys may not have noticed that. When she would say certain things on Twitter, like give me a hug. I love you guys. She was really saying it to me. She was speaking to me directly through her audience.
Right. Okay.
We have been having lots of discussions in the bedroom. Lots of discussions in the bedroom. Does that make her anything less of a woman? Absolutely not. It makes her more of a woman, and I love her for it.
Dude is getting freaky with an AI Pokimane chatbot. And he is definitely not dropping this whole chase for Pokimane, because he's now celebrating dating her for 4 months alone.
Iman Hernandez, I would like to wish you a happy 4-month anniversary. There's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs, a lot of twists and a lot of turns, but through it all, we've been able to stay together no matter what's been going on. And despite everyone saying different things about us, despite people calling me delusional, despite everything that's been going on, we will stay together. Our love is stronger than anything in any situation.
So when does this stop? I mean, it is getting past the point where it's creepy, but he also has a blog where he talks about exploring the best of California. So it goes, on February 17, 2024, I took a journey to California for the Streamers Awards, and it was very inexpensive to get there. I took a plane, and it was very excitant to travel over the clouds as I headed on my 3-hour flight. The days leading up to it all were all in preparation, ready to meet other streamers in attendance, but alas, I landed at the airport late for the show and took the connector to the Uber and taxi pickup, and quickly found out I didn't have enough to get to the show and back. So I waited at the airport for my flight back. I may have missed the show, but at least I got to travel. Come on, dude. But despite the liquidity issues with traveling, he's apparently quite the entrepreneur, because here on his website, he sells backpacks, he sells shirts, quite a lot of other stuff, because he also sells services like videography for $300 an hour, video editing for $100 an hour, photography for $100 an hour, and obviously, if I'm picking a photographer, I'm picking the one guy with one single stock image on his website with 0 portfolio. But that's not it. He can also be your social media manager for only $1,000 an hour.
And I mean, hey, if you pay him more, he might spell manager correctly. And he also does home visits for $100 an hour. I don't know what that entails, but I can only assume that Pokimane would pay a security team more than that to make sure he doesn't visit. Then if we continue down the list, we have Shelbo's Meatloaf and Rice on the same site beside all of his digital services. Then you can get that for $20 an hour. Then finally, you can pay $6,000 for 45 minutes of financial advising. Yes, from the homeless man in California who thinks he's marrying Pokimane. $6,000 for 45 minutes. Totally reasonable that his rates are higher than Merrill Lynch. Shelbo is a fascinating character, to put it lightly, but he also links to his actual Facebook on some of his social medias, and according to his Facebook, he's single. So that's quite the contradiction from his online videos, but maybe he just forgot to update that, even though he's on his 4-month anniversary with AI Pokimane, and or I guess someone who's operating the AI Pokimane chatbot. I feel bad for him, but I also feel bad for these streamers like Pokimane who have to deal with people like him, because that can be horrifying. And at best case scenario, it's incredibly creepy. But I guess for everyone else out there, don't get scammed. I guarantee you that Pokimane won't be in your DMs asking you for money. Shelbo, the sooner you stop paying this grifter who's LARPing as Pokimane, the better. And hopefully you find some help and stop harassing famous women on the internet, because he also did this with Bella Porch before he started doing this with Pokimane. So this is just a recurring theme with this guy. But hey, other than that, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this video. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Hostiles have the hard point.
A little over 30 days ago, Trump launched his meme coin and ushered in a promise of less regulation for crypto. Pump and dumps. Why are they legal? Today, Elon Musk and Joe Rogan are going to tell us the answer.
The whole meme coin thing is bananas.
Yeah.
It is so bananas that people dump real money into these coins, and then you could just pump them up and sell them.
A casino or something, I don't know.
Yeah, it's totally gambling.
People just...
I see this comparison a lot, guys. Yes, it's gambling in the way you don't know if you're going to win or lose, but it's not really like a casino where there are predetermined odds. This is a rigged game, much more in the likes of something like penny stocks, right? There are a bunch of boiler rooms back in the early 90s, thousands, where people would call you and they go, hey, I got this hot stock, you got to get in, you got to get... And all these people, they would tout these kind of little penny stocks. You'd buy in thinking, oh, I'm going to make money, and of course, you lost a bunch of money. That's not the same thing as gambling. And meme coins are the same way. They're promoted, they're promoted, they're promoted. People buy in, not fully understanding who's got all the supply, who's scamming them on the back end, and they're told that these are legitimate operations. So I just want to be clear, like, yes, it's gambling in the way you don't know if you're going to win or lose. It's not gambling in the way of the pump and dump part is completely different.
Yeah.
Musical chairs, and whoever's like the last to sit down loses, type of thing.
And somehow or another, it's still legal.
Yeah, why?
Like, that's
I mean, the thing is, I think not too many people, I mean...
I like that he scratched his head like, how do I justify the U.S. government thinking this is cool to just allow more scams? The constant answer, by the way, this is what Malay said. Nobody actually invests in these things, right? Yeah, there were billions of dollars that flew into Trump coin, but nobody actually, I mean, not even that many. Look, there's not, who even, you know, it's just a casino. The code is unreal. No, there is serious money flowing into meme coins. You can, you know, say, make all the comparisons you want, but to say, oh, there's not that many. No, there are a lot of people. The Trump meme coin brought in 192,000 brand new people into crypto that were not in it previously.
Somehow or another, it's still legal. Like, that's
I mean, the thing is, I think not too many people, I mean, it's sort of like you go to the casino, like if you expect to win at the casino, you're being a fool. Okay?
Right.
So I think if you expect to win at meme coins, you're being foolish. Yeah.
Now, this is true. If you think you're going to win at meme coins, that is foolish. It's just odd to me that we're trying to make as many of these mechanisms as possible. Like, look, everyone knows the lottery is a loser game. We also know it's a de facto tax on the poor because it's disproportionately the poor who engage in the lottery because they're looking for a way out. They're desperate, and so they play these types of games. So it's just weird for us to be like, yeah, we're just allowing more ways for your money to be siphoned off in our society, but you're stupid if you do the thing that we made legal and we're promoting all the time. It also strikes me as incredibly out of touch for people who are already well off and have won at the game of life to kind of puzzle over, like, why would anyone invest in these things, in these moonshot tokens? Why would anybody put money into these dumb, like, basically scams? And the answer is because they are desperate, right? It is because they don't have, you know, security, and they're like looking for basically a get-rich-quick scheme because they're not rich. And so people who are rich often go, what dumb people? I cannot understand why people would put money into this stuff. And it's like, yeah, because you're not in the situation. They're like looking up a mountain and they're going, how do I get up here? And then there's this guy promising a way out. And they're thinking to themselves, well, maybe, you know, I don't know. Also, by the way, there also is a trend of financial nihilism, which says, and is encouraged by certain like powerful people, which goes, hey, the game is rigged against you anyways, so don't even bother engaging with like serious investments. You might as well roll the dice on a meme coin. So while it is easy to like scoff at people who put their money into this stuff, we have to remember who is putting their money into this stuff. It is not the Joe Rogans of the world and the Elon Musks who are gonna lose everything on meme coins. It is precisely the most desperate and most vulnerable people who are going to, and the most greedy, okay? We can't forget there are lots of greedy people out there who are gonna lose money, but there are a lot of vulnerable people who just fall into this stuff because they're looking for a way out.
Yeah.
But you're not going to win at meme coins. It's like but if you want, like, don't sink your life savings into a meme coin.
No, but you can gamble a little, and you can ride waves and win a little and lose a little.
If you want to have some fun, and don't come, then you know play with meme coins. So,
but if you put your family's wealth
on a meme coin
in the Hawk 2
at the risk of saying something bold and outrageous, don't bet the farm on a meme coin.
The weird one is the pump and dumps.
Here's where it gets interesting. Rogan brings up a good point. Not all these meme coins are just like decentralized, fun little Doge coins or something like that. A lot of them, there's a guy in the back of the room who like set up the whole thing, rigged it, and is gonna sell as soon as you buy it. Like it's like an outright scam. So they bring this up, and I don't think the response is that great.
Like people
happen all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And people get shocked that somebody pump and dumped. Like, what are you doing? Did you like? I was hoping to dump. I was hoping to make all the money out of this. I can't believe they got me. Like,
yeah.
It's just weird that it's legal still.
Agreed.
I mean, casinos are legal.
Yeah,
and
it is
people
like a
just
casino.
lose money at casinos.
Yeah,
you know?
But you can't rig a casino like a pump and dump.
Right. It's not exactly the same, is it, when somebody is rigging a game versus there is a predetermined like chance and you're agreeing and you go into it knowing the odds, right?
You could rig a pump and dump. You know?
Yeah, I guess so.
Why is it legal
Like
then?
you could run a real pyramid scheme.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah.
What? What kind of answer is this? Hey, we're now allowed, by the way, they say it's still legal. Actually, pump and dumps weren't legal. They've kind of never been legal, and now we're making them de facto legal because we're not going to prosecute anyone. So this whole idea of like, why is it still legal? No, it sort of just became completely legal. And so now they're talking about, you know, oh, well, you know, this is kind of weird. It's a little different than gambling. And then Elon's response is, well, the government's a scam. Oh, great. Aren't you the guy auditing the government? You are the government. Why are you? It's so weird for the guy to be auditing the government to believe the entire government is a scam. Strange.
Well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
What? So, okay, we're talking about the problem of people shamelessly just siphoning money from retail investors, right? And your response is, well, not that many people do it, and if they do, it's just like gambling. And if it's not just like gambling, well, yeah, it is what it is. Shouldn't have bet the farm. And your response to that is, but the safety net for retirement is a scam too, and a bigger. What? How is that a response? Look, you can have problems with Social Security. It's just like it's not even close. It's not even the same world tree, brother. These are literal, like, you call in, they trick you into investing, and they just steal your money. The other thing, you're supposed to have a retirement. It's so weird. This is like one of the most important guys in determining, like, the path forward, right? This is a thought leader here, and our thought leader is saying, oh, meme coins are fine because Social Security is a bigger scam, right? Pump and dumps are fine because your grandma's retirement plan was a scam too. It wasn't funded well. What is this thought process? That's, by the way, the end of the conversation. I know it seems like we should continue that conversation. No, they just kind of fall off on the, well, what do you mean by it's all a big Ponzi scheme? This conversation was painful, though, and it just goes into the mind of the people running the show. I mean, they just could not care less if you guys get scammed. It's a very odd thing, and there's a false equivocation between, like, regulated gambling in Vegas. By the way, they say gambling's legal. It's not legal everywhere, okay? I know we're pushing to make sports gambling legal everywhere, but it's not yet. It's kind of important. But meme coins are. Like, they're just not they're not regulated like gambling. They're allowed like the shameless pump and dump scams are just running. It's just a strange thing to watch, I guess, because we were all told, like, well, we're going to get some actual rules of the road with crypto in this cycle. But instead of rules of the road, we just have no rules, and those are the rules of the road. That's what's very odd about this set of, the last 2 months is I thought we were just going to get a lot of regulatory clarity. That's what everyone kept telling me. Instead, the SEC just says, like, oh, well, meme coins, we're not even going to try to regulate them because we don't even think they fall under our jurisdiction. So we thought we were going to be told the rules, and there are no rules. But it's fine because casinos are a thing and Social Security is a scam.
Speaking of scams, let's check in on Joe Rogan hosting his, I don't know, fourth tech billionaire of the month. Well, it's like Andreessen, he's had all of them on, right? Sachs, Andreessen. Zuckerberg. Did Peter Thiel show up, or is he too shy?
He's been on it.
We should call him Nation State Media from now on.
Thiel was just on Rubin.
Exactly.
I forced myself to watch that.
It is, I think, impressive that Joe Rogan is able to have such consequential people on and feel such a small obligation to have even the remotest clue of what he's talking about. I haven't watched the whole 3 hours. It's unlikely I will. This part about Social Security, I should just tell you that Social Security has existed every day that Joe Rogan has been alive. In fact, it predates him probably by 30 years at least. It is one of the largest expenditures that our government is involved in. Now, it is self-funding. Taxes go directly to Social Security. They fund Social Security. There's been so much written about Social Security over the past 90 years. So much written by Republicans, because they have been attacking Social Security since 1936. I think it was the 1936 Republican platform where they attacked Social Security as a scheme that is unsustainable and as communism. What Joe Rogan is participating now is just out and out Republican propaganda.
Yep.
It is not new or hip or fresh. It doesn't require the world's greatest mind to figure out.
Unafraid.
It's not like George Bush said this stuff, like Bob Dole said this stuff, like the most banal Republican politicians ever have said exactly what Elon Musk is about to say. The most pea-brained people in the world, like this is so unexceptional. And the only thing that's amazing about it is that someone with who gets millions of views on YouTube or Spotify or whatever it is wouldn't know the least bit about what they're talking about to even attempt to go and find out. So here's Elon Musk lying about Social Security. Now remember, they have begun their assault on the Social Security Administration. They have shut down field offices. They are firing people. This is Americans. I think it's the most beloved government program. 60, 70, 80% of people are in favor of Social Security. I think even for expanding it.
Keeps 2/3 of our seniors out of poverty.
2/3 of our seniors out of poverty. It also helps orphans and widowers and widows. Here is Elon Musk. Now, remember, the way that they're going to go after Social Security is first, they're going to try and sever the relationship with Americans to it. And there's two ways they do it. One is they attack the Social Security Administration, make it harder for people to get their checks. And two is to say, like, it's about to fall apart. This is George Bush going down to the bottom of Treasury, holding up a piece of paper and going, look, nothing but IOUs here. This is so banal and stupid. But here it is, Elon Musk.
The weird one is the pump and dumps. Like people
happen all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And people get shocked that somebody pump and dumped. Like, what are you doing? Did you I was hoping to dump. I was hoping to make all the money out of this. I can't believe they got me. Like,
yeah.
It's just weird that it's legal still.
Pause it. Okay, they're talking about, I think, like meme coins, right? Is that what they're talking about here?
Yeah, like
now,
the Trump and Melania.
It is weird that it's legal.
Yeah.
Because it's illegal to do it with stocks. And to the extent that these crypto guys want to bring this into the fold, guys like Gary Gensler and other regulators wanted to bring it within a regulatory framework to protect people from it. But the guy sitting across from Joe Rogan, as he says, it's weird, it's not. It's like literally staring at the reason why.
Right.
It's not illegal. Like, all of the people that you've hosted on your show, not only could they have told you why it's not illegal now, they were the reason for it.
Donald Trump announced
they bought their election.
Yes.
They bought Sherrod Brown's seat in Ohio. I mean, the crypto boy, he's so very close to knowing the answer, but it's so far away.
The Melania coin was a pump and dump that was created on January 19th, the day before the election. And you know who was behind that same coin? The same guys that were behind the Javier Milei pump and dump as a part of the using his platform as the leader of Argentina to make a bunch of money for a few wealthy people by announcing it publicly, right? So this is the kind of thing that they're trying to copy for the federal government, and then he's claiming, like, it's Musk and those guys and Andreessen, et cetera.
In fact,
Trump just
there was a pump and dump yesterday that happened when Donald Trump tweeted out, you should buy David Sachs's ETF of 5 crypto coins. He had David Sachs on too, didn't he? Okay, good.
It's just weird that it's legal.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I mean, casinos are illegal.
Yeah,
and
it is
people
like
just
casino.
lose money at casinos.
Yeah,
you know?
Regular.
But you can't rig a casino.
Pause
like
it.
a
You know
pump
what's
and-
amazing about that is that, like, Rogan doesn't realize he's making Musk uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because Musk knows exactly why it's not illegal. In fact, he just spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get Donald Trump elected. There were hundreds of millions of dollars spent by crypto people to make sure that it's not illegal. So he talks about casinos. Actually, you know, there's regulations in casinos too. Just go back a little bit.
It's pretty actually strict of when you can build a casino.
Right.
I mean, casinos are illegal.
Yeah,
and
it is
people
like a
just
casino.
lose money at casinos.
Yeah. But you can't rig a casino like a pump and dump. You could rig a pump and dump. You know?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I'm sorry, really quick. Don't take it down, but the house always wins is a phrase about the casino. So, okay, keep going.
Well, yeah, but at least you know that going in. Like, you can read what the odds are. We know that craps are, 49% or whatever it is. But what's amazing here is that, like, literally, it would be like Rogan sitting across from this guy. Keep it up. Rogan sitting across from this guy going like, who's making all these Teslas?
Yeah.
And
Self-driving cars all over the place. Shouldn't be
Elon
legal.
Musk is just sitting there going like, oh, how can I change the subject from? This is good.
There's a Daytona 500.
Does he know that? Like, Musk is like thinking to himself, is Rogan this stupid or is he playing with me? And he's about to find out, oh no, he's this stupid. Let me distract you. This is like literally like, honestly, what you do with like a 3-year-old child. I want candy. Oh, look it over there. It's a birdie. Can you see the birdie? Birdie? Go ahead.
Like, you could run a real pyramid scheme.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well.
Change the topic.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately, but the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with the
Retirement career?
You're paying. Like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue.
Raise taxes.
Far. Have you ever looked at the...
Okay, pause it. I need to stop you here because, I mean, this guy, it's unbelievable. I stutter. I say and And this guy can't even get out the basic premise of what he's trying to talk about, which, of course, is also a lie. Yeah. First of all, what makes a Ponzi scheme is that you're pretending to make investments, and instead of actually making investments, you're paying out people from the new investors you're taking in. Now, at one point, somebody's going to get wise to this, because if all the people say, hey, I want my money out now, you're in big trouble. And that's what your prerogative. That's what happened to Madoff. That's what happened to Sam Israel. I mean, this is what happens with Ponzi schemes. Social Security is not a Ponzi scheme because there are very clear times when you can take your money out. You need to be with near retirement age, near full retirement age, early retirement age, or late retirement age. And we will never run out of, this is not an investment, it's insurance. Insurance also the same thing, right? Like,
right.
It's similar dynamic. We will never run out of people paying into the system unless there's some type of like nuclear event or like space invaders come down and eliminate everybody, because the law is that you've got to keep paying into the system until you get to retirement age. And now he's going into, well, there's all these unfunded liabilities. In other words, if all these people who are alive today, born just in this moment, turn 65, it's going to be 67 now for anybody born today, certainly. It's 67 for me. Turn 67, we don't have the money to pay them out. Now, right now, in fact, the way that the system works, we have a slush fund called the trust fund that was designed in 1983 to deal with the baby boomers. And then everybody gets paid out 83 to 85%. That's an intermediate assessment, right? There's things could be much better, things could be worse. That's the middle assessment. And this is going to end in 2035, that trust fund. But what he's describing is even more dire for every other thing in our budget. Because today is March 3rd. On March 15th, you know how much of the Defense Department is funded? Zero. Do you know how much the FBI is funded? Zero. The USDA? Zero. The EPA? Zero. None of it. There is no budget for any of it.
And that doesn't mean they are Ponzi schemes.
No.
They are not Ponzi schemes. We anticipate that Congress, at one point, the Republicans will get their act together and be able to pass a budget, or even just like say, we're just going to keep using the old budget from last year until we come up with a new one. Social Security is, in fact, the most funded liability that we have associated with our government whatsoever. As of March 17th, there are $0 budgeted for our defense. I mean, it's by Mexico is going to invade us. Canada, they've been setting the groundwork. They've been booing our anthem. They're signaling they're going to cross the border. I mean, no one's doing that because, of course, we know that that Congress will budget it. Congress has the ability to raise taxes and lower taxes, and they could easily raise the tax on Social Security. It wouldn't affect anybody. Here's the thing. It wouldn't affect anybody making less than $176,000.
Yep.
Because you are already paying that tax. It would only affect people making more than $176,000. Maybe, based upon whose idea it has, it wouldn't affect anybody making less than $400,000. And they could just, tomorrow, we're just going to create that donut hole, or we're just going to blow out the cap, and then all of this is just nonsense, what he's saying.
Right. And then you could essentially not have to worry about any of that, but it's a part of mandatory spending. We already have the mechanism via the payroll tax to fund all of this. So unless he's saying that we're going to just completely obliterate the way we've been doing taxation under Social Security for almost 100 years, or I guess also Medicare is a part of it as well, right? Then that would be like the dire circumstances that he's described. But as long as we still have the payroll tax, it's going to be funded. You'll still get over 80% of your benefits. He's creating this kind of anxiety, and Republicans have always been doing this because they don't want to raise taxes on the wealthy. This could be solved, and we could even increase benefits under Social Security if we obliterated the cap.
Yep.
So
no cuts. Four words. No cuts. Raise taxes.
Right.
Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations.
So stupid.
So basically, people are living way longer than expected.
Oh, pause it. Wait a second. Okay. So he's just shifted now. He just shifted dramatically.
yeah.
If you have a car payment, if anybody listening to me has a car payment, has a mortgage, has a credit card bill, has even, let's say, you get cable television, or you have a subscription to Hulu, you have unfunded liabilities in the future. That means that you owe this money. If you have a mortgage, you owe that money. But you say, well, I have a job. On one hand, you have all these liabilities facing you. I owe $150,000 on my mortgage. Oh my God. Oh my God. I owe $150,000 on my mortgage. But the good news is I will keep my job. And I will pay that mortgage. When Musk says there are unfunded liabilities, twice the size of the debt clock, he is not acknowledging that on the other side is all of the American workers who will be paying in to the Social Security system. He's ignoring that because he just got caught trying to change the subject from why don't we have regulations on crypto? and then when he sees that Rogan is sitting there going like, wait a second, what does that mean?
Making
There's all
weird
this
noises.
unfunded. So go back a little bit. You'll see that he then changes tact and says, oh, people are living longer. You know who else has figured out that people are living longer? The actuaries who work at the Social Security Administration. In fact, they knew back in 1983 that there was a baby boom. And there was going to be more people retiring. And they can look at all the data. You don't have to be a magical genius to say people are living longer. And also, to be clear, people in the top 50 percentile of income distribution are living longer. People in the bottom 50 percentile are living barely longer.
Right. And notice how, though, like they both, he talks essentially about how Social Security, it's in trouble, and that's why we have to do all of this. Okay, here's like the simple reason: you can raise taxes. Oh, well, no, it's a Ponzi scheme then. So they both insist on how important Social Security is, but also how we basically how precarious it is at the same time. You could just do the simple solution if you really cared about it, but that's not what he cares about. He cares about getting rich.
So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations. So basically people are living way longer than expected.
People are living way longer than expected?
There are fewer
Excuse me, what? What?
It's those 150
What? Expected when? Expected in the 700s? Like, you telling me that people didn't anticipate people would be living longer? Isn't the whole point of society? Isn't it the point of all of society that we've anticipating? Like, if anything, we have underestimated how life expectancy hasn't been shared across the board. I mean, this is one of the most obvious things in the world. If we have better hygiene, better medicine, better nutrition, life expectancy will continue. Better medicine to deal with things. Like, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard anybody assert who has the ability to show up at a location on time. Now, maybe he was late to this interview and maybe he needed a driver and he has a handler to do this. But this guy, it's unbelievable. Like, you can't even come up with a good fake argument. Nobody expected longevity, like people to live longer.
Again, our life expectancy fell.
And aside from the fact that our life expectancy has fallen. Now, I don't know if it's fallen since the age of 65. In other words, you can measure life expectancy at the time of birth, which often is problematic. It's a lot of times like, now life expectancy at the time of birth has actually gone down a little bit because of these abortion bans. We're finding that more children are born who have no ability to actually live past a few hours, past a few weeks. And then we also seeing an uptick in people die in their 20s and 30s and 40s because of suicide, because of violence, because of opioids. Now, if you get to 65, those numbers go up again for people who have not had to work in physical labor for the most part in their life. But so everything he's saying is just absolute gobbledygook. There's been, to opine on this stuff and to have had zero intellectual curiosity, and even with his horrible agenda, to have not done even enough work to tell a good lie about it is just sad. Go back a little bit.
The actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations. So
we need to pull that.
Basically, people are living way longer than expected, and there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and get that live for.
Okay, now he's talking about worker to retiree ratio. Now here's the thing. When it started, it was like 450 workers to one retiree.
Right.
Now, guess why that might be? Because you just instituted the program. So let's look at 1975, for instance. It was like 3.5 workers to every retiree, and now it's 2.5. What has happened during that time is the productivity of workers has increased. So the output that they're doing has increased, and they've paid more into Social Security. The difference is, however, from the 1980s to now, is that wealth inequality has expanded. So when you have a cap and you just limit the Social Security taxes to the first 176, it goes up. The first 176,000 that is earned, there are people who are so wealthy that they are hoarding like measurable percentages of all the wealth that is earned, all the wages that are earned in this country, and they're hoarding that money, and that money is no longer touched by the Social Security tax. So if you had 10 people and they're all making $176,000, all of that money would be taxed. But if you have one person who's making $5 million and one person who's making 176 in a room or 150 in a room, and the rest are making $5,000, all of a sudden only the 176 plus the 8 people making $5,000 gets taxed, and the guy who's got $5 million, his 176 is taxed, but then the rest of the money is outside of that taxation. So as a percentage, we used to, in this country, tax about 91% of the income, wages earned in this country were subject to Social Security tax, but now only 86% are. That's why we need to blow off the cap. But here he is talking about worker to retiree ratio. Again, such a basic concept that the actuaries at the Social Security Administration have been dealing with this for years and years and years and years and years, well before Elon Musk was even sadly born.
In apartheid South Africa.
There are fewer babies being born, so you have more people who are retired and that live for a long time and get retirement payments. So the future obligation. So however bad the financial situation is right now for the federal government, it will be much worse in the future. At the risk of being a buzzkill here.
Positive. Also, at the risk of being a buzzkill, I know I keep interrupting, but the law in this country is that Social Security cannot add to the deficit. It cannot add to the deficit or the debt. There is not $1 associated with the operating deficit of this country. The deficit is the shortfall on a yearly basis between what comes in and what gets expended, or the debt, which is the loans that we take to finance that annual deficit. Not $1 of that is attributed to Social Security.
It's the outdoor lockbox.
Social Security, right. It's been raided. The government has borrowed from Social Security Trust Fund, and they don't want to pay it back, at least the ones who want to give tax cuts. But Social Security operates almost in parallel to the rest of the government. The wages that are pulled, the taxes that are pulled for Social Security go to fund Social Security. Now, again, you can raise those taxes, but the general fund and Social Security does not commingle. So he's lying.
At the risk of being a buzzkill here.
Did you see...
So we better fix what we've got right now, because if it's bad now, it's going to be much worse in the future.
There was an interview with this woman who was a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out if that was true?
There's so many whistles being blown. It's hard to keep track.
A lot of whistles. But this one lady...
It was only in one state. It was very specific, innocent,
right,
I believe.
But it was using Social Security money, correct? That was her...
I don't know.
That was her allegation. So what she was alleging was that she was in charge of turning illegal immigrants into clients. That's what they would call them. And that she would go to them and try to ask them, do you have a headache? Do you have back problems?
Yeah.
If you do, now you can be permanently disabled. You get permanent disability, so you get Social Security for life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just Social Security, but disability, which is even more.
Right, and you get them on the taxpayer dole right away the moment, and they're illegal aliens.
Yes. So if I were to say, like, what's at the heart of this?
Pause it. I mean, this is just absurd. Anybody, if you know anybody on disability, you ask them what the process was like to get on disability. It took them months and months and months and months and months and documents and documents and documents and doctor's visits and testimony. I mean, it is so difficult to get on Social Security disability. This is Rogan's, there are kids with cat litter who are identifying as cats, so they got to put cat litter in the classroom story.
Yeah.
In fact, right now, the DHS is going to the IRS and trying to get tax information on people who pay taxes. Now, this is woefully illegal. The IRS does not share any of this information. In fact, part of the reason is just sheer privacy for everybody. But part of it is, if you are an undocumented immigrant in this country, the IRS says you are still obligated to pay taxes on what you earn.
They do.
And on their website, they will say to undocumented immigrants, we will not share your information with anybody. We want the taxes, right? This is the same thing they got Al Capone on. We want your taxes. You're going to pay your taxes. And because we're going to fund the government, we want as much tax revenue as we can get. And DHS is going to them to try and get the names of these people who have been paying taxes. Now, aside from the fact that they suspect these people are undocumented, they're just going after Hispanic sounding names. So there's some profiling there. They obviously don't know which of those 700,000 are undocumented. Some may be, some may not be. Aside from what it means in terms of privacy for everybody, we want those tax dollars, and we will never get them in the future if the IRS gives up this information to DHS, because it won't be worth it for these people in the future. In fact, a lot of these undocumented immigrants, they pay their taxes because they hope someday they can prove that they have been a benefit to our society. They don't get the benefits, but they are paying into the system.
You know how much it is? There was a group that analyzed it, $25.7 billion in 2022, which was the last batch of data that they were able to look at. Social Security benefits extracted from people who are undocumented, which essentially means that of 11 million people contributing $25.7 billion in Social Security taxes going towards that fund that they will never see, most likely, if the Trump administration gets their way and they're not able to become full citizens. So.
Good.
Why is the Democrat propaganda machine so fired up to destroy me? That's the main reason.
You just lied about Social Security.
The main reason is that entitlements fraud, that includes Social Security, disability, Medicaid, entitlements fraud for illegal aliens is what is serving as a gigantic magnetic force to pull people in from all around the world and keep them here. Basically, if you pay people at a standard of living that is above 90% of Earth, then you have a very powerful incentive for 90% of Earth to come here and to stay here. But if you
pause it for a second, there is not. I mean,
it's not pull.
First of all, there's so much stupidity and lies here. It's hard to sort of parse which is which.
And hypocrisy. I mean, Washington Post reported November 1st, WAPO, Elon Musk worked illegally in U.S.
Okay, I mean, putting that aside, because it's not about this one bigoted South African former undocumented, or he would call illegal immigrant. You would never get Social Security payments without paying into it. Never, ever. You're not in the system. How could you possibly? This one story that Joe Rogan heard that he's not sure is true about this one woman in some place in America who was actually seeking out for some reason to give undocumented immigrants, doesn't mean you can vote, incidentally, too. It's just I'm just decided to go out willy-nilly. Didn't risk my job to give money to people who aren't in the system already. We also know that in terms of Medicaid and Medicare fraud, it is the providers, not the recipients. All the fraud they found, and they find fraud every year because there's investigators, although they're getting fired by Elon Musk, is from providers, doctors, hospitals, ambulance companies, medical device makers, insurance company, whoever.
Hey, ask Rick Scott about that.
Exactly. It is like the idea that there is some huge draw to get on Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid for undocumented immigrants. The idea that they're getting on this without paying into it is just absurd.
We have people that, like, this country does not have a robust social safety net. Like, I don't know what else I can say to this billionaire who has never wanted for anything in his life, even as a child, and now is trying to lecture us about our threadbare social safety net. There are many other countries that immigrants could go to if they wanted, say, universal health care coverage or something like that, that would provide them with better benefits than we have here. But we just said the data. They pay billions and billions of dollars into a system that never pays out for them. But apparently there's an anecdote that Rogan may or may have not heard that Elon Musk says is endemic to the program.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And to stay here. But if you end the illegal alien fraud, then you turn off that magnet, and they leave, and they stop coming, and the ones that are here, many of them will simply leave. And if that happens, they will lose a massive number of Democratic voters.
And if it didn't happen,
So, okay, I'm sorry. Apparently, immigrants who have undocumented status can vote. The 11 million people that he's saying, they're going to risk getting deported to vote. They're also going to risk going and saying, hey, I'm a Social Security beneficiary, even though I don't have a documented status. They're both doing those two things. That is just, both of those are patently false. And this is one of the biggest podcasts in the country. Like, it's slipping now because he's so stale and not everybody's into Billionaire PR Hour as their podcast, like, of choice.
Billionaire Power 3 hours. So.
Right. But, like, I mean, the fact that he's now had multiple billionaires on here to say this kind of crap unchecked, this is the kind of thing that we should be regulating. Like, this should not be allowed to go unchecked. There's a corporate responsibility here. Spotify. I'm sorry, but, like, there are repercussions when you say verifiably, or there used to be more, but there's verifiably false information on television is regulated. This is crazy. This is now happening over and over again, and it's there to launder just like this project that's designed to immiserate us all, and people are buying into it.
Click on this link. This is the policy dealing with non-citizen disability claims. Non-citizen is not an undocumented immigrant. It is, in fact, a documented immigrant. You go down, a medical determination not required, a medical determination is required. Those are the different situations. This is a non-citizen filing for SSI disability. They have to be age 65 years or older. They have to be lawfully residing in the U.S. on or prior to 8/22/96. They have to be, at the time of application, a qualified non-citizen. That means they must have a green card or a visa or whatever it is. They must meet an exception condition for a qualified non-citizen, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we don't need to see any more of this. The bottom line is like, I don't know if, I mean, they will use that idea, like, here it is, here's the proof, non-citizen getting this. Well, they have visa. I went to Australia after college, traveled around. I had an ear condition. I went in, and guess what? I saw a doctor multiple times. Each time it was like $10. And I'm like, what's going on here? It was nuts. It was nuts. You just go in. You just pay $10. There's no filling out forms or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
I talked about this before, but 6 years ago, I was with somebody who had to spend the night overnight in a Parisian hospital, and we were ready to leave at like 10 a.m. the next morning, waiting for where do we sign a check or something or scan our card, and they're like, no, you can just go. And it was different.
This has been the worst stream. I barely played anything. I'm not feeling that great, so I'm just gonna go.